Plaintiff, Misty Blakeney, says the defendant is her adopted sister, and once she went to high school, she became deceitful and promiscuous. Misty is suing her sister because she sold her a car and she stopped making payments on the vehicle. Defendant Christina Blakeney says Misty is a liar who had 3 kids by 3 different men by the age of 21, and her second child was born with cocaine in his system. Christina insists she was making payments on the car.
All right, tell me what happened.
Christina she's my adoptive sister. We actually adopted her when she was little. My mom adopted my mom. I'm sorry. My mom adopted her and her siblings when they were younger to keep them out of the system and keep them together as a family. So she's lived with me her whole life, or our family, her whole life. I've never looked at her as an adopted sister. I've always looked at her as a blood sister because I don't, put a label on it. Growing up, we were kind of close. I would have to say that we probably weren't as close as I would have liked to have been. But when she hit about high school, she started doing things I didn't exactly agree with. She became very deceitful, lied about anything, and she became very promiscuous. Right. One night, I actually asked her to babysit my kids so that I could work.
How old were you?
This was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember the exact time.
How old were you?
About 23.
You don't know how old you are now?
Well, yeah, I was about 23.
Okay, because all you do is subtract what you think you are now. And that's how you figure out how old you were.
Okay.
Okay, and how many children?
3.
By age 23?
Yes.
Okay, how many children you have?
None.
Miss Promiscuous?
I wasn't promiscuous. I have no children.
Good enough. Go ahead. You see what I'm getting at? It might not be too smart
I do
to
have 3
place a
children.
judgment on people when some might judge you.
Right.
And some might conclude that you made the wrong decisions.
Okay, but that's not what my intention was.
Oh.
My intention is to prove her deceitfulness and how she lies about everything.
Deceitfulness?
Deceitful.
How does promiscuousness equal deceitfulness?
Because it goes along with her pattern of lying. The reason that I said that and about lying and the decisions that she made is because when I left her in charge of my 3 kids so that I could work, I decided to come home. I took time out to stop in my house for a minute to check up on things. When I got there, the door's hanging wide open. I walk in the door and she's giving oral sex to her boyfriend on my couch while my kids were in the next room.
All right, let me ask you this. Did you know she had been promiscuous by that time?
At that time, I don't think I had an idea as to how she was going about it. I thought that me and her were close enough.
You left her with your 3 children?
I didn't know she would do that to me, though.
She did it to the guy, you said.
Well, yeah, but my kids were in the house. When I got there, the door's hanging wide open. I walk in the door and she's giving oral sex to her boyfriend on my couch while my kids were in the next room.
All right, let me ask you this. You left her with your 3 children?
I didn't know she would do that to me, though.
She did it to the guy, you said.
Well, yeah, but my kids were in the house.
Defendant Christina Blakeney says the plaintiff is her adopted sister, and she claims the plaintiff had a child who was born with cocaine in his system.
You want to give me some background?
First of all, Your Honor, my sister here is a liar. She is irresponsible.
I am not lying, Your Honor.
She's here to make me look bad, Your Honor.
No, that's not what my intention
is. She's had 3 different kids by 3 different men by the age of 21, which her second child was born with cocaine in his system.
That's a lie.
Then she decides to move to Atlanta to get her life on track, which didn't work because she came back and then had her 3rd child and tried to move back to Atlanta and get her life back on track.
I had the 3rd child before I went to Atlanta.
Ma'am, please be quiet. She didn't say one word when you were bashing her and putting her down and talking negatively about her life. Now she's just doing the same. Go ahead.
Not only that, does she get caught in Atlanta on her way to Miami with stolen credit cards. My mom had to come all the way to Miami to bail her out of jail. And since then, I have watched her. I've been a caretaker of her children since her first child was born for her to work, and I'm not in school myself, taking care of her 3 children.
So you don't have to though.
No, I don't have to, but my mom is ill, so I felt that since my mom is ill, nobody else is here for her children.
Man, that's what they have daycare and preschool for. Don't say that you're not in school and you're not doing for yourself because you're taking care of her children. No, you shouldn't do that.
Right.
Don't let her burden be yours. Let me allow you to talk about the claim against her for breach of contract. How did she owe you for that?
Well, basically, the reason for the breach of contract was because I had a second vehicle and I agreed to sell her my vehicle so that she would have transportation back and forth to work. Because at this time, I believed that she was, she said she was going to go to college, and I was trying to be helpful to her.
So what was the agreement?
Well, the agreement was that she signed a promissory note.
See it, please.
The agreement was that she would purchase my car for me for the amount of $2,200. I had put a lot of work into the car, and
How much has she paid you?
$540. So she still owes me $1,660 for the car, as well as $90 for insurance, because I did keep insurance on the car. And here's a breakdown of the total of everything on there.
Say she owes $1,660 for the car balance.
And then $90 for insurance, because I did agree to keep insurance on the car if she paid me for it.
Your Honor, I have a breakdown of the payments I have been making towards her, and I also have 2 witness statements of the payments that I have been.
They were there when you paid?
That they were there. They were there with me.
They were standing right there with you.
When I sent the payments.
Every time you paid, you had somebody standing there with you.
Yes.
That's a lie.
I don't believe that.
When I send the payments in the mail, I have somebody with me.
You send them in the mail?
I send them in the mail to her because we live in 2 different towns.
I thought they were standing there with you. Oh, so every time you mailed something in, they were right there. Somebody standing there with you every time you mail something. Just coincidentally, every single payment you send to this woman, somebody standing there right over your shoulder while you zipping the envelope. You say, I want you to make sure you look. Putting this in. You hand me the stamp. Hand me the stamp. I'm going to put it in this way, and I'm going to close it. Y'all made it a big production each time, huh?
No, Your Honor. I went to the post office and got receipts, which I don't have here today. I got receipts when I sent the mail to her.
Okay. Do you have any other evidence, or do you have any evidence?
Yes, I have 2 witness statements here.
All right, let me have your witness statements. What do you have? Any evidence?
I have a witness. Well, that leads into something else that I'm actually. I have a charge for a tow as well. I actually took time out of my job to drive up to Joliet to get this car to impound for her, because one, it was in my name and I didn't want it to sit there. And when I get there, I go off on the guy at the tow yard for a good 20 minutes because of the damages done to my vehicle. And then when I leave the tow yard, I feel like a complete idiot because her informs me she's the one that did it. After she let her 15-year-old boyfriend, by the way, drive the car.
Are you suing for damages?
I'm suing for the towing of the car because she agreed to pay me back, which I have a receipt for.
And that's $90?
No, sir. It's $205 for this towing. This is the receipt I have. There was another time that the car got towed, which was only a couple weeks later.
How much?
It was $100.
Okay. Every time you paid, you had somebody standing there with you.
Yes.
That's a lie.
I don't believe that.
When I send the payments in the mail, I have somebody with me.
You send it in the mail. Every single payment you send to this woman, somebody standing there right over your shoulder. Y'all made it a big production each time, huh?
Defendant Christina Blakeney says the plaintiff is her adopted sister, and she claims the plaintiff had a child who was born with cocaine in his system.
What receipts or if any evidence you have regarding the payments that she made?
I have a breakdown right here.
That's your personal breakdown that you compile?
That's the receipts that I created from me to her, so that we could keep a record of the payments that were being made.
Did you ever receive a receipt from her?
I did receive every receipt.
Do you have yours today?
No, because they were in that car that she
Gotcha, ma'am. Where's the car now, ma'am?
I have no idea where the car is. She told me she was going to come and get it. A week later, I went to go see, and I called every towing company around Joliet in my apartment
ma'am, you were
complex, and they don't
responsible
have
for
any
the
of them.
car. The car was in your possession. You were paying for the car. You were responsible for what happened to it, and you don't know what happened to it by your own admission. Secondly, she has all her receipts, and as you say, you have absolutely none. In fact, all you have is the 2 letters from your witnesses who say they stood over you and saw you put this amount into the envelope every single time. That is unreasonable to me. I just don't believe that. As such, I'm going to grant her judgment $2,395. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
One, you know darn well that my son was not born with cocaine in his system. You know that's an outright lie. 2, yeah, I did have 3 kids at a young age and you have none, but you're pregnant right now.
And outside the house.
Okay, well at least I wasn't caught having
me
sex
and my
in
mother
public,
didn't come pick you up from the
At least
Swings
I okay, you know what? First of all, let me tell you something.
And your boyfriend
I did go to Miami, yes I did, but I never had fake credit cards, so why don't you get your story straight? Your whole self was in the bathroom at the dang bowling alley bragging about how you was in there having sex with them. You're nasty. So if you want to lie on me, I'm gonna tell the truth about you. I have nothing to lie about. Anyway, you should have paid me for my car. You didn't pay me for my car, so I got my money.
Everything. You got your money because you're a liar. You're a liar.
Bye bye.